Hi, everybody. It's the Tommy Maroon Sports Show, episode number 253, right here on WCTV. It's always a lot of fun, folks, as I'm looking at my phone because the Guardians are in the playoffs. You knew it was a long time coming, folks. Knew it was inevitable by now, but looking at the team leaders, let's look at them. There is Stephen Kwan and Jose Ramirez. Stephen Kwan, 291 average. Jose Ramirez, 106 runs, 35 home runs, 39 swipes, and 107 runs batted in. Ben Lively, 12 wins. Ben Lively, 12 wins. Tanner Bybee has a 3.60 ERA, 175 strikeouts, and 1.14 whip. Not to mention Manuel Clase has an incredible 46 saves. Leads the majors. Guardians at the Rays didn't go that well, but it could have been much, much worse. Splitting this series to 2 games. First 2 games wound up being losses, with Gavin Williams going 5.1 in Game 1 and Logan Driscoll having a 2-run bomb for the Rays in Game 2. John Kenzino didn't have a bright game in Game 2, 2 for 3. But in Game 3, Lane Thomas and Jose Ramirez doing Lane Thomas and Jose Ramirez things, which is hit a home run. Josh Naylor had 2 RBIs. And Brian Rocchio had the only RBI in Game 4, not to mention the 45th save of the season for Manuel Clase. And then this series against the always rough and tough Minnesota Twins. Just kidding, they're not very rough, and they are not very tough either. Because the Guardians are incredible, and they are incredibly good. Oh my goodness. Winning the series 3-1. Cal Manzardo, go-ahead home run in Game 1. Clase tied the franchise record with 46 saves in Game 1. Lane Thomas homer to Game 2, even though they lost. Brian Rocchio, walk-off single in Game 3. Andres Jimenez, walk-off single in Game 4. And what do you know? The Guardians are back in the playoffs. Oh, man, oh, man. Oh, man, oh, man. It is going to be a great October, ain't it, folks? Because the Cleveland Guardians are dancing to the playoffs for the 3rd time in the last 5 years, 2nd time in the last 3 years, and, of course, for the first time under the Stephen Vogt regime, which is just the first season of Stephen Vogt. That man's going to win Manager of the Year. If he doesn't, I don't know who does. What I do know is that we got to get to Tommy's picks. Because, we got a lot of picks, don't we, folks? Yes, I do. There's part 1. We beat the Copley Indians and really stood up to them and said, you are not going to win. 44-7 was the final score there. It wound up being a lot of fun for us. And then, of course, you have, Cleveland Heights beating the Brunswick Blue Devils. Brunswick still looking for that first win of the season. My goodness. And then Mentor beat up on Medina 49-14. Mentor's the only team above 500 in Greater Cleveland Conference play right now. I never thought I'd say that. That's pretty odd. Wadsworth beat Twinsburg 55-10. Wadsworth is 4-0. Talmadge really beat up on the Barberton Tragics 40-13. Barberton's really doing terrible this year. 0-4. Out of character. Hudson looks like they're back on track. They beat Stowe 45-7, and Massillon Jackson edges out a win over Mayfield 21-19. Did I mention that Massillon Perry beat the Lake Blues Streak 17-7? And North Royalton with their first win of the season against the winless Brecksville team, but still it's a rivalry, and it's still a win. And it was a blowout too, 55-21. Brecksville may go 0-10 considering how things are going. That is pending on what they do against Stowe. And maybe Twinsburg and maybe Solon. But outside of that, I can't really see them do that well. Avon shut out Elyria. What else is new? 58-0. Amherst Steel is number 1, Division II, Region 6 right now. They are an incredible 4-0. They beat Midview 21-16, ended their undefeated season. North Ridgeville beat Olmsted Falls 43-17. North Ridgeville also 4-0, just like Avon as well. I think Nordonia's also 4-0. They beat up on Solon 45-7. Walsh is also 4-0. They beat St. Ignatius, who's been struggling over the last 2 years, 42-7. And Archbishop Hoban beat up on Akron East 42-6. McKinley 35, Glen Oaks 6. And Warren Harding High School won 26-0. And Austintown Fitch beat up on a struggling Riverside team 17-3. Let me pull up what Riverside's doing this year because they have not been doing that well, if I'm not mistaken. They're 1-3. Wow, that's odd. VASJ's unbeaten. They won 53-35, and Bull Orderman beat Maple Heights 29-20. Time for some D3 football. Baldwin Wallace won it. Nothing new for the Yellow Jackets, of course, as we are going to look and see what else happened. North Central won. That's not surprising. St. John's beat up on Wartburg in a top 25 matchup as well, 35-13. And Endicott beat Ithaca 13-7. Alma squeaks out a win at Denison 38-30. Mount St. Joe's bounces back with a good win over Hiram 28-7. In Catholic University, the Cardinals, they downed the Capity Comets. I call them Capity because they are petty. 38-20. Muskingum beat Otterbein by a score of 24-7. They're 2-0 with a win over the Lions, too. Albion beat up on Bluffton 56-21. Olivet beat Worcester. Wabash over Ohio Wesleyan. Hope over Franklin. How about Case? At the Santo Field, really beat up on their opponent in Bethany. They received some votes in the top 25, so don't sleep on the Spartans, folks. Cornell beat Lawrence 31-21. The Westminster Titans beat the Waynesburg Yellow Jackets 23-10. St. Vincent beat the Allegheny Gators 41-20. Allegheny was my upset. Anderson and Concordia won their games. Time to go FBS football. Yes, we shall go there. Yep, there it is. Kansas State won 31-7. Can't say the same about Kansas. They lost. Yeah, to the running Rebels of UNLV. Alabama beat the Whites out of Wisconsin 42-10. And was a very anticlimactic game. And South Carolina's kicker just missing the game-tying field goal as LSU will survive at Williams. Bryce 36-33. How about Missouri? They're in the top 10, and they beat a top 25 team in Boston College 27-21. And in a revival of the Civil War, Oregon beat Oregon State. And what was the game? I thought the Beavers had a good shot upsetting, but that ultimately, of course, did not happen. 49-14. And then Miami shut out Ball State 62-0. Notre Dame beat up on Purdue 66-7. And Florida, Billy Napier may be done, not even by the end of the season. He may be done midway through the season. He may be done after next week. I'm dead serious. 33-20 A&M wins. And then the Apple Cup was back. Washington State beat Washington 24-19. Utah in an in-state rivalry beat Utah State 38-21. And then Kentucky punted the ball with 3 minutes to go in the game. Georgia was able to run out a significant amount of clock, and Kentucky's last shot ultimately failed, and the upset was dead. Indiana beat up on UCLA 42-13 in Colorado. Man, oh man, primetime won a game, 28-9. UCF beat TCU 35-34. And Tennessee, dear God, 71-0 over Kent. They recovered an onside kick up 30-0. That's just rubbing salt in the wounds. Bills beat the Dolphins. Of course, Tua is not looking good. Of course, he's been battling a bunch of concussions. I seriously worry about that dude. I hope he's all right. He's got to retire. 31-10 Bills. Ravens lost 0-2. They are dead last in the AFC North with another team I'll mention in a little bit. Chargers beat the Panthers, the pathetic Panthers. God have mercy, they suck. Bryce Young sucks. He's being lifted for Andy Dalton. We got a scoregami game at Jerry World where the Saints won 44-19. And the Buccaneers, just like to say I picked them to win. I called an upset. I was right. Can't stop Baker Mayfield, can you? Packers beat the Colts 16-10. Browns won. Corey Bojorquez. Man, oh man. Corey Bojorquez with a beautiful punt down at the 2-yard line. Went out of bounds at the 2-yard line, actually. It went out at the 2. You talk about coffin corner. That man can do it. It led to a safety, and Trevor Lawrence isn't looking good. Vikings won over the 49ers. What world do we live in? 23-17. Sure, Justin Jefferson got hurt, but I think he'll be all right. Seahawks are 2-0. They beat the Patriots in overtime. Jets beat the Titans, so maybe they don't suck for now, but they usually don't suck at the beginning of the season. 24-17. Commies used 7 field goals to beat the Giants. That's right. It was 21-18, 7 field goals for Washington. And the Cardinals and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray, they really beat up the Rams 41-10. Steelers magically found their way to another win, 13-6. Bengals should have beaten the Chiefs, but thanks to a really dumb pass interference call, they did not. And the Texans beat the Bears on Sunday night, 19-13. And the Eagles passed it on third down. Why do you pass it on third down when your opponent's basically out of timeouts and a run? You got a good running game with Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, but they pass it to Saquon. Saquon cannot catch it. And the Falcons ultimately won. So now time for Tommy's picks. High school football. Talmadge against Highland. Come on, give me those Hornets. Avon against North Ridgeville. Might be sounding a little biased as a Highland Hornet, but I want North Ridgeville win. I think this is a team that can do it. Give me North Ridgeville. And then Berea Mid-Park against Amherst Steel, going with the Comets. Aurora will beat up on Copley. They're my lock of the week. Roosevelt over Barberton. Wadsworth over the Brecksville, Broadview Heights Bees. And North Royalton's fun after win over Brecksville. They will lose to Nordonia. And tonight it's Brunswick Medina. Those two teams are combined 1-7. I think the Devils are going to get it done. Mentor's going to continue their hot streak and be undefeated, 5-0 with a win over Cleveland Heights. Hoban beats St. Ignatius, in my opinion. That's what I think is going to happen. Big game. Max Preps has this as the second biggest game in the country. St. Ed's, Massillon, Washington. Oh, man, that's going to be a good game. I got to go with Ed's. Walsh will beat up on Firestone. Benedictine over Shaker Heights. Avon Lake will beat Midview. Strongsville over Euclid. Solon over Stowe. That should be a good game, actually. Olmsted Falls, Elyria will not be a good game because Olmsted Falls is probably going to destroy them. Rocky River will beat Lakewood. Westlake over Valley Forge. And Normandy over North Olmsted. North Olmsted team that's only scored 14 points in 4 games. D3 football, I mean, sound impartial or unbiased or completely biased, which, oh wait, I do. Lock of the week, we're going to be Capital. Susquehanna against the reigning champion Cortland Dragons. I got to go Cortland. Mount Union's going to beat up on John Carroll. Barry will beat Randolph-Macon. Randolph-Macon almost lost last week to an unranked team at home. I don't think they're going to do it this week. Wheaton will beat Augustana. Capital over Morrisville State. What else is going on? Gettysburg against Christopher Newport. Picking Christopher Newport. Mount St. Joe's over Albion. DePaul beating Worcester. Ohio Wesleyan, the Battling Bishops over the Oberlin Yeomen. Hanover going to beat Olivet. And then in some OAC action. Otterbein against Marietta. Got to go with the Pioneers. That's too easy. Wilmington against Muskingum. Again, too easy. Going with Muskingum. Heidelberg against Ohio Northern. Got to go with the Student Princes. And Hiram against Wimberg. I think the Tigers can get it done. Bluffton against Trine. Going with the Trine Thunder. And Geneva Golden Tornadoes will beat the Teal Tomcats. And the Westminster Yellow Jackets will beat the Allegheny Gators. FBS football and then NFL. And then we're done. I think Nebraska will beat Illinois. Clemson's there going up against North Carolina State. Clemson is the most overrated team in all of college football, like they have been for the last 4 years now. They're going down to North Carolina State. Mississippi State lost to Toledo big last week, going up against Florida. They'll bounce back. They'll beat Florida. Florida sucks. Cincinnati will beat Houston. Kansas, I think they'll bounce back with a win over West Virginia. Michigan against USC. Of course, Michigan doesn't have their buddy Connor Stallion stealing signs, so obviously they're going to get drilled. LSU will beat UCLA. Notre Dame, my lock of the week over the Miami of Ohio Redhawks, not the Miami Hurricanes. Otherwise, that would be a huge game. Louisville beat Georgia Tech. Auburn, Arkansas. Good God, that's not going to be fun. I'm going Arkansas. Oklahoma State will beat Utah. Miami, there's Miami. They'll beat USF. Florida State against Cal. I'm going with the Bears. They beat Auburn. Florida State is 0-3. I am just saying the Florida State game may be the worst game in the history of that rivalry this November. Oh, ye gods, they suck, both teams. It could quite easily be one win between the two teams when they face off against each other if everybody loses out. That's a possibility. Toledo will beat Western Kentucky. Oklahoma at Memorial Stadium, they will upset Tennessee. And Iowa will beat Minnesota in a very low-scoring game. In the NFL, it will be the Jets against the Patriots. Got to go Jets tonight. Browns against the Giants. Got to go Browns. There's some tell me that the Giants suck, and that's because they do suck. They lost to the Commies after scoring 3 touchdowns, giving up 0 touchdowns. And they're the only team in NFL history to do that. And the Colts will beat the Bears because the Bears have literally no offense. Vikings will upset the Texans. Eagles will bounce back with a win against the Saints. That'll be a good game, Saints-Eagles. Steelers-Chargers. Steelers will magically win it like 14-10 or some garbage like that. Buccaneers are my lock of the week over the Magic School Buses last episode. Packers over the Titans. Raiders over the Panthers. Seahawks over Free Willy. They don't got a quarterback. Lions are going to bounce back with a good win over the Cardinals. Cowboys against the Ravens. Got to go with the Cowboys. Ravens will go to 0-3. I'm just saying. Rams will bounce back with a win against the 49ers. And Sunday night, Chiefs will beat the Falcons. Monday night, doubleheader. Bills beat Jags. Bengals beat the Commies. Bengals are out for blood. And folks, we did it. Almost 20 minutes of the Tommy Maroon Sports Show right here on WCTV. Let me pull up what's coming up next. Next week will be more of the same. Cleveland Guardians and Tommy's picks. And the week after that will be more of the same as well because the Guardians are in the playoffs. Yes, sirree. Good time to be a Guardians fan. When do the Cavs start? Good Lord. I don't know. I need to check that out, folks. As I pull up the Cavs app, we'll see when it begins. Looks like the schedule won't start till late October if it can get up and running. View calendar. Come on. Sorry about this, folks. October 8th actually looks like when the season's going to begin, so I stand corrected. October 8th, when the Cleveland Cavaliers go up against the Chicago Bulls. And what should be a good game, that will be on Bally Sports, of course. This isn't Bally Sports. This is WCTV Wadsworth. And we got good shows coming up next, so stay tuned. I'm Tommy Maroon. I got to go. I got to broadcast the game. So long, everybody.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.